Hi everyone, today I'm going to be taking you through the top 5 midfield targets for Liverpool Football Club. Just before we head into the video, there's two names that a lot of you will want to get mentioned, but I'm going to give a quick explanation as to why they aren't in my list. The first name is Sal Negret. The biggest reason is that his wages are far too expensive to fit into our current wage structure. At Atletico Madrid, he's currently earning £200,000 a week, and if we compare that to our highest earners, Mo Salah earns around that same amount. Secondly, he is 26 years old. Only once have we ever seen Liverpool kind of break that age range around transfers with Thiago last season, but will they do it again? I can't really see it. Thirdly, he'd cost us around 40 to 50 million. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's not worth it, but there are far better options out there who are younger and could benefit us in the long term. And finally, does he actually offer us anything that we don't already have? I'd say the only thing that he does offer is availability, and is that really a reason to sign somebody? No. Now the second player on this list, I know a few of you may not like this opinion, but it's Youri Tielemans. The main issue with Tielemans is that he's going to be far too expensive for us to sign. We've already had problems shifting our deadwood like Origi, and as we all know, we always sell first to then buy players, so will we make up 70 to 80 million? It doesn't really look like it. Now let's get into the list. Starting us off at number 1, we have Renato Sanchez. I'm going to very quickly cover Renato Sanchez because there was news the other day that he has picked up another injury. So the likeliness of us signing him is very slim. However, why is he in my list? He's only 23 years old and will cost us around 40 million. Given that he's performed at the top level at such a young age, the transfer just does make sense. There are a couple of drawbacks given that he's already flopped in the Premier League with Swansea, but given the fact that he was in a negative sort of system and a really bad team, I don't think it's fair to pinpoint this moment in his career. As we all know, we've taken a Premier League flop before in Mohamed Salah, and well, that worked out very well, didn't it? Speaking about what he brings to Liverpool Football Club though, he has that ability to drive at players, he can take long shots, and he's a very physical player. Essentially, he's the perfect Klopp system player. It was reported by Fabrizio Romano that us and Barcelona are keeping tabs on his situation. Given the whole wage issue and transfer issues around Barcelona at the moment, I don't really see them as rivals for Renato Sanchez, so I feel like we would be the main contenders to sign him. However, as I've already mentioned, he has recently picked up another injury, and he does in fact have a very poor injury record, so the likeliness of us signing him this summer is right down the drain. Now the second midfielder in this list is Evie Basuma. We put up a poll on the LFC Transfer Room channel a couple of months ago, and a lot of you preferred Renato Sanchez to Evie Basuma, which did surprise me because I think Basuma would be the better option. Firstly, he's definitely Premier League proven. He's performed at one of the lower clubs in the league, but he's been one of the standout players. Basuma himself has made it clear that he doesn't want to stay at Brighton, and I don't think anyone can really complain against that because he is far better than Brighton's current standards. He has previously been linked with Arsenal, but I'm pretty sure if there's an offer between us or Arsenal, there's really going to be no competition between who he's choosing. Now, one of the main reasons I really wanted Basuma at the club is because, of course, Gini Wijnaldum is no longer here. And one of the key things to Gini Wijnaldum's game was ball recovery, and I think Evie Basuma also has that. So what does Basuma offer us? He offers us defensive solidity, which a few of our midfielders don't currently have. Moving on to numero 3, we have the Portuguese Wolverhampton wanderer, Ruben Neves. It got reported earlier in the transfer window that Neves would be available for just £35 million. Now, given the fact we were linked with him before he even joined Wolves, he's very young and he fits our system perfectly. It baffles me that we're not even heavily linked with him. I'll say the key area for Ruben Neves is his ability to pass from all sorts of ranges, kind of similar to Jordan Henderson. But unlike Jordan Henderson, Ruben Neves has a great ability to shoot from long range as well. So Ruben Neves would bring a unique presence to the club, which is something that Liverpool Football Club is all about. He's Portuguese and from Wolverhampton Wanderers, so of course would be besties with Diogo Jota. He's currently on £70,000 a week, so fits into our wage structure perfectly. And one of the key things here is that he has a very good relationship with Pep Lijnders. Here's a quote from Pep Lijnders back in 2019 where he says he knows Ruben Neves very well. He knows his ambition, his passion for the game and his professionalism. He knows what he gives to the team, and this type of player always interests us. When he says us, does that mean Liverpool Football Club are always keeping tabs on his situation? So it leaves a few questions there as to why we're never heavily linked with Ruben Neves. He also said, I recognised him when I saw him at Wolves, I saw technique, professionalism, and I saw the 2013 to 14 player that I knew. For those of you that don't already know, Pep Lijnders used to work with the younger players at Porto when Ruben Neves was obviously there at the time. Now the final two players on the list, I can't see the transfers happening this summer, but for next summer, I imagine we're going to be heavily interested in both of them. The first player on the list is Ryan Gravenburg from Ajax. His dad has stated that he doesn't want Ryan Gravenburg to leave this summer because he wants him to take the next step at Ajax before he knows he can perform at a top level. Which is a fair thing to do because we don't really want to sign a player just based off one season. One of the main things with Klopp signings is that we never tend to sign the finished article, except for Thiago Alcantara of course. But 9 times out of 10 the player starts to improve once they start working under Jurgen Klopp. And with this player in particular, that can definitely happen. One of the main things that I have to mention is that he's a very different kind of midfielder to the other 3 that I've already listed. If I had to compare him to anyone in our squad, I'd compare him to Fabinho. For me, Fabinho is the best defensive midfielder in the world, but in case of any injury issues, we don't really have anyone to replace Fabinho in that defensive midfield position. So having someone there like Ryan Gravenburg to push Fabinho to be an even better player than he already is, that would be amazing. Or even having him as just a rotational option, it will be very good for our squad depth obviously. However, you're probably thinking I'm an idiot. Why would we sign this guy just to be a defensive midfielder, sort of backup option for Fabinho? He can play in central midfield also. He has a lot more to his game than Fabinho currently does, hence why he can play further up the pitch. He is very similar to Fabinho in a sense that he has that rocket shot, but he is better than Fabinho in terms of versatility because he is a much better dribbler and he plays at an extremely fast pace. I'm not saying Fabinho doesn't work at a fast pace, but in terms of sprinting and acceleration, he can change the direction of play in an instant. The final key thing about Ryan Gravenburg is that he's 19 years old. This leads me to believe that other teams will be heavily interested in him, especially Manchester United. If they don't end up signing Camavinga, I imagine they'll be after him as well, but Liverpool Football Club, we are the main option for you lad. Now the final player on this list, I'm sure you're all glad to hear, is Jude Bellingham. The only drawback from this transfer is that he will come at a very hefty price tag. But it's been reported by many journalists that Liverpool are in for a big summer next summer. I know we've been told this for the past 5 summers anyway, but given the whole sort of situation around our contracts, where our main focus during the transfer window was to get players to sign new deals, it makes sense that next summer we'll really go into the window and actually splash some money. Now let's actually talk about what Bellingham brings to Liverpool Football Club. He is a very unique player. If I had to compare him to anyone in our squad, it will kind of be like Naby Keita, but he is the whole package. He has previously stated that Steven Gerrard is his idol, so obviously the Liverpool link is already there. He's of course besties with Jordan Henderson, as we've seen in previous England photos. And speaking of England, one of the main things is that he's homegrown. We all know the current issues with our squad where we're at the max limit of foreign players. So signing someone of a very high quality from England helps us a lot more than any of the other players that I've mentioned already in this list. Now one of the key things in this transfer rumour is that James Pearce has stated he'd be very surprised if Liverpool aren't interested in signing Jude Bellingham. James Pearce has stated before that he'd be surprised if Timo Werner didn't end up at Liverpool Football Club, which obviously didn't happen. But there is a feel around Jude Bellingham that he fits Liverpool's current process. Now that's the list all wrapped up. Be sure to let us know in the comment section any midfielders you would like to see at Liverpool Football Club. Let us know your thoughts on the players we're currently linked with. And with that being said, thank you for watching. I've been Anthony Audley on behalf of LSC Transfer Room and I'm signing out.